Voila, soyez le bienvenu. This is Engineer Kanene. In this video, we discuss the differences between a strip foundation, also known as a wall foundation, and a mat foundation, also known as a raft foundation. The purpose of this video is to educate professionals, technocrats, even laymen in understanding the differences in terms of application, soil bearing capacity, economic implication, cost implications, and also typical use of these two types of foundations. Let's first of all begin with what is known as a strip foundation. A strip foundation is also known as a wall foundation. From its very definition, it's simply a strip of concrete that is casted along the load-bearing walls of the entire structure. And the strip foundation looks like this. We dive into what is known as a mat foundation. A mat foundation is also known as a raft foundation. A mat foundation looks like this. From the picture itself, you are able to see that a mat foundation or a raft foundation consists of a single unit of a reinforced concrete slab that is casted over a large area which covers the entire footprint of the structure. So the entire footprint of the structure sits on what is known as a mat foundation. Now, when do we use? What are the structural applications of a mat foundation and a strip foundation? So let's begin first of all with a strip foundation. We recommend the use of a strip foundation in cases where the ground or the soil has got a good bearing capacity. By soil bearing capacity, we simply mean the capacity or the ability of the soil to carry the weight of the structure without experiencing what is known as shearing and settlement. That capability that the soil has to carry the entire building without going down, that vertical displacement known as settlement, is what we call soil bearing capacity. So in places where the soil bearing capacity is very good, we recommend the use of a strip foundation. For a raft or a mat foundation, we recommend the use of a mat foundation or a raft foundation in cases where the soil bearing capacity, the bearing capacity of the ground is weak. When the soil on its own cannot bear the entire weight of the structure, when it shears or when it settles, we recommend the use of a mat foundation, also known as a raft foundation. Now, what are the main differences? What is the main difference between these two types of foundation? The main difference is how the load is transferred to the ground. That is the main difference. For strip foundation, also known as wall foundation, the weight of the structure comes from the superstructure. The weight of the structure is distributed through its bearing walls. From the individual walls, the load is transmitted to its foundation, then to the ground. Whereas for a mat foundation, the entire weight of the structure is first spread across the entire mat, that slab, entire foundation. Then when the load is transmitted over that large area, then the weight is transferred to the ground. So the difference, the main difference, is how the load is transmitted to the ground. Now, when do we use? What are some of the typical uses? When do we use? Typically, when do we use a raft foundation and a strip foundation? Apart from the bearing capacity of the soil, we use, for example, a strip foundation, also known as a wall foundation. We use it in cases where we are handling or constructing small buildings, such as residential buildings, single-story buildings. We go for a strip foundation. Then for mat foundation or a raft foundation, we use it in cases where we are dealing with multi-story buildings, buildings that have got a large weight. Okay, we recommend the use of a mat foundation or raft foundation. For heavy industrial buildings, okay, for multi-stories, we go for a raft or a mat foundation. Now, these are some of the differences between a strip foundation and a mat foundation that a good engineer must understand.